Hi, my name is Kristina Johnson, host of Behind Her Business podcast, and I'm super excited for you guys to become part of our business motherhood community. If you're interested in listening to the podcast, please like and share and send us a comment on the topics you would like us to cover. So let's talk about the real life juggle. So my husband and I are extremely driven people, and we had one child at the time. So it really helped with our lifestyle because we had one kid. My daughter was through IVF. We tried really hard, and we had our miracle IVF baby, and we love her so much. And so we had so much fun with her. We're like, okay, three's great. We tried for another one a few years, and it never really happened. So we just kind of got used to it. So here we are juggling our careers. We're so excited. My husband gets this great opportunity. I'm on the top of my game in my career in advertising, and we end up moving. We move for my husband's job, and we'll talk about that later on in some episodes when you're having to make a choice between your jobs, almost like which is more important or which one's better for the family in the long run. We did go through that. But I'll tell you that is how I started my agency. So I'd been in the advertising world for so long, never thought of opening my own business. Finally opened my own business because my husband had this great idea. I had a few clients I consulted for, and 5 years later, I grew the business, and here I am still running the business, and I love what I do. During the time that we moved back from Philadelphia, that's where we moved, I get pregnant. I get pregnant just out of nowhere with this beautiful little boy. But when we want to talk about juggling life and business, I thought to myself, I cannot do this. I'm at the top of my game. I'm starting this business. I'm ready to go. And my husband whispered to me, he said, why stop? Why should pregnancy stop you? So here I am, pregnant, growing a business, trying to juggle that, trying to juggle keeping time with my other kid. So she still feels like she's being, taken care of and I'm not neglecting her. I have my kid, I finally have my son, and it is new mom, it's business, it's not forgetting to have a partnership and be a wife, it's coming home and making sure that there's dinner on the table. So the time that I get to myself really isn't a lot of time to myself unless it's maybe the last 30 minutes of the day when I'm watching something on Netflix or I'm binging. But that's a real life story about work-life balance. And that's probably how my life reenacts itself every single day. Every single day, it's the same thing. It's trying to get everything done as much as possible. So do you guys have a real life juggling story? I would love to hear about that because my life juggling story huge juggling story started when I started my own business here at KJ Marketing Group, and I was pregnant with my son. A late pregnancy at that. I was 42 when I got pregnant with my son. And here I am at the top of my game trying to juggle having my first child and giving her attention, being pregnant, having him, growing a business, being a wife. So it's the huge juggle game. I think I think everybody here can relate to that in some way, shape, or form. But I would love to hear about how you guys have really helped. What have you guys juggled in your life? And do you have the secret sauce? I don't know. I don't have the secret sauce, but I would love to hear your stories on that. So definitely put a comment. Tell me about how you are juggling right now and what you're doing. If I can get a workout in, if I have enough energy to get to the gym and do a workout, I'm all about it. That is me. That is my mom time. And I know this is probably not a good thing, but it's my glass of red wine, girls. I love me a good cab. So I'm going to tell you, sometimes I have a few glasses of wine and I tell my kids and my husband to get out so I can binge watch some Netflix. Of course, the mom guilt starts, but I'll tell you one thing, those are the things that I do to have some me time. So I would love to hear how you guys are getting your you time because it's tough. It's tough for all of us out there. So I'd love to hear your opinions. Okay, so what can you expect from this show? I have some wonderful guests that we have. We've already talked to them, so I can't wait for you guys to see these episodes. One of them, just to give you an example of the type of people that will be on the show, we have CEOs, we have women who started getting back into the industry and into their industry after 15 years of being a mom. We have somebody who is in a male-dominated industry. We're going to talk about all of that. And I think they're really great stories because you don't necessarily have to be a CEO to listen to this podcast. I think you just have to be somebody who's juggling, who has, if you're looking at going back to work, if you're looking to get out of work, if you're looking to start your own business, if you have a side hustle, whatever you're trying to do and whatever you feel is your personal goal, and you're juggling that with being a mom and trying to figure things out, I think this is a great podcast to listen to because we're going to talk to all types of women about their stories. Some really fun stories that we have coming up is one woman who started working after 15 years of taking care of her 3 children, which I think is phenomenal advice and really great advice on how to keep yourself experience during that time, because as you know, things change during those times. I want everybody to know that this is a community. We see a lot of times, especially in the male business community, they help each other. They're making these deals on the golf course. They're having fun. I think that we don't do that as females enough. I think we see each other as a lot of competition. So my goal is for this to be a community for women to support each other and their life juggling and their careers and their being a mom. What are the things that you feel like you can relate to? What are the things that you feel like you need help with? And we're here to support you. That's what this podcast is for. And I feel very passionate about this podcast. And I've actually thought about doing it for years. And finally, I was like, you know what? We need to get this out there. I need to talk to these women. We need to be real about what's going on. And we need to just, like I said, peel back the curtain a little bit on what we feel that other women are perfect or they have it put together. But I can tell you, most of these women, if you talk to them, they're going to have their stories, and they don't see themselves that way necessarily. And I think that we can all learn from each other. So that's one of the reasons. And I'm also very passionate about young women finding their way in their career. I know I didn't personally have a lot of that in my career. I was always very insecure. I wasn't really sure. I was in a male-dominated industry, so I'm like, well, do I need to act like this? Do I need to be a bitch? What do I need to do? And I think just really being able to harness your feminine energy is very important in business, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think, I really kind of made the way for myself, and I made my own rules. I didn't listen to anybody else's rules, and I want people listening to this know that you don't have to listen to anybody's rules either. Like, we make our own rules. That's what this is about. So if you have a hype up routine when you're out there on the field, I would love to know what that is. So my personal hype up routine is listening to Beyonce on the way to a client meeting. If I'm going to go close a deal, I'm listening to Beyonce because I am badass. And that's what I tell myself before I walk in. But that's my thing. And so I think it's important. Like, let's hype each other up here. What's your hype up song? Actually, put that in the comments. I want to know what your hype up songs are. I also will talk about unrealistic expectations. I think that's an important thing for us to talk about. I'll give you some unrealistic expectations. So when I was pregnant, people were I was this little delicate flower. And let me tell you, ladies, if you are pregnant and you are completely healthy, there is no reason why you can't hustle while you're pregnant. I hustled while I was pregnant. Thank God I had an energy. Thank God I had the energy. I heard that boys actually give you the energy. My girl took the energy out of me. But when I was pregnant with my son, I was ready to hype. I was ready to hustle. So I think one of the unrealistic expectations was I had to slow down during that time. And I'm really happy that my husband, my partner in life, pushed me and said, no, you don't. And I probably got more done with this company when I was pregnant than any other time. So if you're in that situation and you're pregnant and you're trying to feel like, oh, is this going to stall everything? Absolutely not. Don't let it stall anything. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay at your plan. There's no reason why you can't have it all. And I am a true believer in that. So hopefully you guys are too. Obviously, nothing against somebody who just wants to do one. I have no problem with that. But for me, I've always been a natural hustler. I've always been somebody who wants to do well. I want to be challenged. I want to try new stuff. I get bored extremely easily. So taking the entrepreneurship seat was very exciting for me, and it still is exciting for me after 5 years. So if you have a little inkling of excitement about this podcast, or if you're interested, please like and subscribe and share it with your friends and family. I would love to hear from, like I said, I would love your stories. If you have an awesome story that you want to tell, then definitely shoot me an email, and we will email addresses here, and we will definitely take that into consideration. Again, the cool thing about being an agency owner is that I have so many clients, and I have some great women clients who've actually become personal friends of mine. And I look up to them. I love hearing their stories. How did they become successful? What are the tips that they have? What type of brand should you have? I think brand is extremely important in business. I think that, actually, people that are listening to this, do you know what your personal brand is? And we'll have a whole episode just on that because that's important. People are going to perceive you a certain way, and you are the one that has control of that. Also, if there's a future topic that you guys want to hear about, also let us know in the comments. We would love to know, what do you guys want to hear? What type of stories do you want to hear? I want to make sure that is beneficial for you listeners, and we'll make sure to keep it interesting and exciting, and the most importantly, real. And to close out the podcast, remember, ladies, make time for yourself. If you're thinking about that right now, when you're done with this podcast, go pour you a glass of wine or a cocktail or a mocktail, whatever you guys do out there. Take some time for yourself and like and subscribe. And I look forward to you guys listening to the podcast and becoming a part of our community.